What's going on, Omnibuddies? Mitch here, and we are doing another Omnibuddy overview. What are we looking at? We are looking at Kelly Sue DeConnick's and Phil Jimenez's latest book by DC. We are looking at Wonder Woman Historia. All right, so before we take a quick, like glamour shots and all that, an overview of the whole book, I just gotta say, this book blew me away. I had heard it was good. I did not expect it to be this good. So stay tuned because we're gonna talk about why. But man, the art in this book, the story, oh my gosh. You know, I know enough about DC to get by. But I don't follow DC ultra closely, week to week, issue to issue, reading every single Omni out there or anything like that. But you don't need to know all that for this book. It is definitely a one-off if you know a little bit about Wonder Woman. Not even really Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman's technically in it, but this is all about the Amazons and their history leading up to Wonder Woman. So, yeah, you don't need to know much, just kind of, general who the Amazons are and kind of their importance in the DC universe, and that's about it. I have the standard edition cover because I really love that very clean, really great look. There's the back of it. But there is a DM variant of it that is just chock full, like huge splash page of all the characters on it, which really fits the art, but it was a little bit busy for my taste. It is really cool because when you open it up and look on the inside of the dust jacket, there is a huge spread on the inside of the dust jacket, which, I mean, you look at it once or twice here and there, super cool, but this is really what you're gonna see mostly, and that's why I went with it. But definitely let it be known that there is a cool, like, Easter egg huge wide poster inside the dust jacket of the DM variant. So there you go. Now you know. You know what? Let's quit talking about it in the ether and let's take an actual look at the book. All right, so here we have Wonder Woman Historia, the Amazons, and this is a nice hardcover. This is the regular edition. It's not the direct market variant cover or anything like that, but here we have the spine here. Kind of hold it up so you can see it a little bit better, and then here is the back, and this art, well, all of it really is very representative of what you're about to see. Very cool. This book does retail for $29.99, and it is a decent size regular hardcover. Let me grab a book here and you can see this is the IDW image. All of them are the same size, so it is that regular kind of Omni size book and dimensions and scale and all of that jazz. So yeah, it'll fit right on your shelves, looking nice. This one, here, let's take out this dust jacket. It's got some really nice flaps on the dust jacket. The direct market version does have a fold-out poster behind the dust jacket, which is super cool and very tempting, but I really do love this clean look with the peacock feathers and Wonder Woman and all that, which is cool. And then here we have the hardcover. It's got that nice foil kind of Greek god aesthetic, kind of cracked stone look to it, but that foily, and then that kind of got a little texture to it, which is cool. There is the spine again, and here's the back. So it's all got kind of that like marbled look to it, and that foil, gold foil, really nice. Black end sheets, which pretty typical DC to do black end sheets. I really wish that they would start doing some art on their end sheets more often. That would be super cool. So let's get into it. This is written by Kelly Sue DeConnick with art by Phil Jimenez. Primarily, then there's Gene Hahn, Nicola Scott on here, and a ton of colorists and others on here too. And then we get right into it with cover art right here, representative of the dust jacket. So we'll get into it. Starts off. I will also say the paper quality is pretty good. It's thick. You're not getting much for. I didn't notice any real like see-through transparency or anything like that on the pages, so there wasn't any big issue with that. I live in the Pacific Northwest, so it can be a little humid, but usually I don't get much page wave, so this might just work itself out down the road. But some of my DC books get kind of wavy on my pages, but it's not too bad. It's you really notice it more when it's like on black like this. But then you get into the splash pages like this with lots of color, and you do not notice that. So this book talks about the Genesis, the beginning of the Amazons. And, it starts off with the Greek gods, or in this case, the goddesses. Hopefully I'm pronouncing the names right. I'm terrible at names. I really wish I was better with them. But Hestia, Artemis, Demeter, Hecate, something like that, Aphrodite, and Athena. And then you have Hera. But man, it just hits you hard over the head with just gorgeous art, but just kind of introduces you to the goddesses and kind of the queen bee of the goddesses, Hera. And then it just takes you, and it was kind of like when it jumped into this, it really hit me with the Disney Hercules kind of look with the pots and telling the story at the beginning. But I love that movie. One of my favorites, actually. One of my favorite Disney movies. But it just, come on. Every page you turn is just like shockingly gorgeous and detailed and just, wow. Like, amazing art in this. Every page, nearly every single page I turned, I just kind of was like taken aback when I flipped the pages open, because it was just, I've never seen art this detailed consistently throughout a book. Every time you turn a page, just come on. But basically what it, you'll see tons of crazy art. But basically what this is the goddesses being frustrated and fed up with the gods. So you have Zeus and all these other gods, and they don't appreciate the goddesses. They don't take care of the women on Earth, and the goddesses are really just tired of it, and they're done with it. And so they begin cooking up a plan after talking and meeting, and they begin cooking up a plan on how they are going to kind of change the course of the world and the course of womanhood and women on the planet and their plight, just being under men and all the craziness that happens with, pillaging and raping and all this crazy stuff. And they're done with it, and they are going to take pieces of them, plant them, and start something new. And what is this that they're starting new? Well, they are basically starting the Amazons. And look at this art, you guys. Like, if aside from the story being really, 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 really good, like one of the best, coolest, most original DC stories I have read, aside from that, this art, just, you may as well buy the book for this art. Just unbelievable. Look at this. So the goddesses, they're working together. They're doing this in secret behind the gods' backs, and they are going to start something new. And it's really cool kind of getting to know the different goddesses a little bit more and learning about them and the tribes and how each of the tribes of the Amazons began, and who their goddesses are that they not really work for, but serve or have allegiance to, worship, whatever. But jeez, come on. I'm just going to stop like at every page and be like, what in the world? So I don't like to give away things. I don't like to give away storylines or anything like that. So I feel like at this point I've almost given too much. But basically, you end up meeting the women of Earth as they are, and the goddesses and the gods, and you kind of seeing where everything's at. And then you see how it develops as the goddesses start to intervene and change the destiny of the women of Earth, and how that all happens, and kind of the realities of how that can happen. Obviously, it's not based in reality, but what unfolds when they do decide to make those choices, and then when they do decide to bring human mortal women into the fold, and how that can really affect things, change things, but how it is totally necessary. And man, is this book absolutely brutal too. Just, they do not pull punches with the violence, the gore, the plight. Oh my gosh. Jimenez does not pull punches with his art. It is just friggin' phenomenal. And I believe this is 3 main chapters all broken up, and you really get some really great story in here. I kind of flipped through slowly of the first one, but man, some goddesses aren't on board, some gods are sort of on board, and some of the human women aren't on board, and some are on board, and man, it just gets nuts, and it gets out of control, but in a good way, really fast, and it is a really cool setup. And what's cool is this book, like, it's Wonder Woman Historia. It's her history, but it's her history in that she is an Amazonian woman, and this is their history. So it's Diana's history as much as it is any other Amazonian woman's history, and really women's history. It's super cool, super fun, really interesting to see the gods in the Greek gods in different lights and different takes. And you got Hercules and just some crazy stuff going on. And yeah, it's freaking awesome. And when stuff hits the fan, you really feel it in scale. And look at Zeus compared to Hera, like huge, tiny, just freaking awesome. You do not have to worry about how this ends, because it has very good payoff. It's a very short read, like I said. You can pound it out in a long day if you want, or over a few nights like I did, but you definitely cannot put this book down. So good. It does such a great job bringing you along, and I love that it is just super short. It took me a couple days because there is a lot of text and dialogue in here, but it's not this epically long read. You can just get into it, really have fun with it, and get a really good plot with amazing supporting art, and not have to worry about spending so much time devoted to one giant omnibus or something like that. And then there is a very good amount of extras in this book, actually. So it goes through all the tribes and like some of the like major players in those tribes for each of the goddesses, and then you have the hidden figures. So this is just kind of like background on writing the story and sketches and things like that. Really cool stuff. And then you have the behind the panels, which obviously goes even further into that, and then some more progression and things. And then you have some of the scripting here too, so some really nice extras. I also really loved this, that they had the Historia pitch in here for the actual like concept, format, scope, all this kind of stuff, and like a laid out pitch. Super cool. I really like that because not only is it cool just to see how a story comes together, how it's pitched to a, one of the big twos like DC. But you can see how a top tier creator like Kelly Sue DeConnick actually pitches her story, and one that is actually picked up by the studio, so creators out there can get an idea of what one of these would look like. And it's just interesting to see how it's pitched to what actually happens on page and what you see on the pages. There are really no complaints I have about this book. The only two I really have are the dust jacket is not, the regular edition doesn't have that inside cover art like the DM variant, and then the actual end sheet paper doesn't have art. I really wish DC would do that, but those two things are really my only two complaints. And if those are the only two complaints that I have, heck yes. I'll put this dust jacket back on real quick. But yeah, you're not going to see the inside of the dust jacket or that end sheet art anyways when it's on your shelf and once you start reading, so you don't have to worry about it. But this book, do not skip out on it. So good. All right, so that was a quick look at Wonder Woman Historia by Kelly Sue DeConnick and Phil Jimenez. Wow, like the book just absolutely blew me away. The art style, how each page was just like an entire, like, just artistic piece. Every time I turn the page, just insane art. I cannot believe how great of pieces that Phil put into each page. It was just like, just blew my mind every time. And it really supported and just completely elevated an already amazing story by Kelly Sue. Friggin' awesome, really cool. I just absolutely love that you could jump into this as a one-off, having just a general idea of what the Amazons are and Wonder Woman, not even really needing Wonder Woman to know who she is, because she's really not an important part of the book. But you could just jump into it and read it and get such a great story out of it. I love it. I love when they do these one-off stories that just add to the universe and don't need to fall back on canon or set a bunch of stuff up. I mean, it sets up all the Amazons and Wonder Woman, but yeah. So if you are interested in this book, definitely hit up Organic Price Books. Use code Omnibuddy for $2 off every order. If you're ordering 3 or more books at the same time, you can use Omnibuddy, ship it together, all one word, and get 5% off your entire order. All the books will ship together, so be careful if you're pre-ordering a book. Probably want to do books that are in stock or books that are just about to come out, so you're not waiting forever. But yeah, use those codes, support my channel, support OPB. You're not going to find better packaging, shipping, communication, and pretty much not going to find better prices out there. So hit them up. Great small business that's exploding on the market right now. But yeah, hit them up. And then don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, do all those things. But the most important thing to do is comment. I love talking with you all. I try and respond to every single comment. I don't think I've missed one unless it was spam. I love talking with you all. So let me know in the comments what your favorite big three, so you have Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, kind of the big three out of DC, what your favorite big three one-off, in canon, but like, or it could be out of canon, whatever. So it could be Elseworld, but what your absolute favorite one-off story is. I guess it could be like 1 or 2 books, like if it's Injustice or something like that. But I really want to find more one-off books that I can recommend and that I can check out if I haven't read them yet. I always suggest like Brubaker's Gotham Central, but it's a pretty big Omni too, so it's a pretty big thing to dedicate your time to reading, or to like let people borrow. Whereas like this is a pretty small book. It's, takes a little bit of time to get through, but it's not, you're going to be dedicating a month to trying to get through this whole thing, or a few weeks to get through it. You could knock it out in a couple days or a few days or something like that. So let me know in the comments what your recommended one-off story is and why. All right, I'll let you go. But yeah, take care, stay cool.